Today's blog, 50 Shades of Grey, or Whatever Happened to Reality. I'm not talking about the best-selling book. I'm talking about the fact that life is not black and white. We spend so much time choosing sides. We create this you're for us or against us mentality. We have to either be right or and the other person has to be wrong. And frequently, reality isn't black and white. In some cases, yes, it is. But for the most part, reality is not black and white. Reality lies somewhere in the middle. It may not be strictly exactly in the middle, but it's not the extreme on either side. And yet, we're creating this world where we live from the extremes. We argue from the extremes. Moderation has no place anymore, and that's very distressing. Speaking as someone who generally is pretty moderate on a lot of things, I'm not inclined to extremes in most things. And sometimes that can come across as wishy-washy, but the reality as I see it is that that's where the truth is somewhere in between. It's not strictly middle of the road. I think there's been times when we've gone too far to the middle of the road and, no one's gone home happy. And maybe it's a backlash to that where, you have to be so careful not to offend anybody that for so long that now it's created a backlash and it's encouraging people to go back to more extremes because we got so heavily moderated for a while. I don't know. That thought just occurred to me. But going back to my point, life isn't in the extremes. It's in the middle. And we've lost that. We've lost the moderation. And we need to find that. That's where change happens. It's in finding that moderation. That's where peace happens, in finding that compromise. Life is a compromise. And we've gotten this view that compromise means nobody's happy, but really compromise should mean compromise. It means finding a middle ground that coming to an understanding that both people can agree with, or both sides can agree with. And that's what we're losing. We've gotten so far into this left, right, Republican, Democrat, right, wrong, black and white. And it's not where reality sits. And we need to learn to listen to each other, to find the common ground, to get to a reality. And to stop this constant us and them, this constant confrontation and aggression because we have to be right, we can't be wrong. And it's detrimental to actually living. And we need to change that. We need to find the common ground. We need to find reality. We need to find ways to work with each other and stop fighting with each other. Because when you're fighting with each other, nobody wins. Find viable middle grounds. And you might not always like where the truth lies. You might not agree with all parts of the compromise that has to be made. But we have to start finding these compromises. We can't keep fighting. We're living a life of tenseness and aggression. And we're teaching our kids this. And we need to learn how to see things from other points of view. We need to stop thinking that our opinion entitles us to be correct. We have to accept that sometimes we're wrong. And we have to accept that sometimes both parties, both sides of a story are wrong. If you've ever tried to mediate an argument between two people, you know very well you've got the his, the hers, and I'm just using the gender stereotypical argument. His, hers, and somewhere in the middle is the truth. And we've gotten out of the habit of searching for that truth. At least too many people have. And I understand why it's beneficial for the powers to be to create that push-pull, us-them division. But because it stifles productivity, it stops agreement, it means that change won't happen because people won't allow it because they have to be right. And we need to work on that. We need to find the middle ground. And I'm not saying there aren't cases where somebody is just completely dead wrong. There are. But usually nobody's either entirely correct or entirely incorrect. And we need to find truth. That's what we need. We don't need to be right. We need to find truth. Anyway, that's my ramblings for this round. We'll see if anybody listens, if anybody wants me to ramble about something else. Thanks for tuning in for however long I rambled. Bye.